Nah, I'm just joking. It's available in your country. It's back! We're back! Will it shred? We've got the Morris Hurricane. It's back. We're coming back for 2016. So the big question is, will it shred? Firstly, you'll be looking for a bit of an explanation as to why it's been almost a year since I've done anything with this series. Well, truth be told, I never expected it to be as popular as it was, and what was going to be a couple of episodes fixer-upper suddenly looked like it had legs and it could go much further, so I probably just got a little bit too ambitious. I decided that this 80s shred machine should have a proper 80s paint job. So I've taped it up here so it looks like a sort of Van Halen sort of thing, and I'm also going to neon swirl dip finish it with these oil paints. I did some tests on objects on a small scale and they came out with some great success, so I was fully convinced that this was going to work. However, scaling up the project to full size presented a lot of problems. I spent a whole day from morning to evening in the freezing cold trying to get this paint to spread out thinly on the surface of the water, but to no avail. I don't know if I miscalculated the volume of water and the required level of borax, or whether the sheer cold temperature of the water prevented success. Either way, the whole day was ruined. Desperately, I dipped the guitar in hope. I got a horrid, thick, clingy mess. Disaster. Disillusioned, I sat the guitar aside and decided to deal with it later. After that point, I had much less time to commit full days to projects like this, especially when I had paying customers looking for builds and repairs, not to mention a growing list of review videos to do, and those easier and quicker to produce videos sort of took over. I also started winding some pickups for the Will It Shred stuff. That's one of them there. That's a stacked humbucker, so it's single coil size, but two coils are stacked on top of each other rather than side by side. You can see that from the empty bobbin beside it. So this is going to be a humbucker, single humbucker format, although the top humbucker was going to be single coil size stacked. But I encountered some problems here as well, especially with the full scale humbucker, and I sat it all aside. Excuses. I'm a terrible person, but it's New Year, 2016, and we're going to get right back into this with some fresh eyes, have a look at it, and see what needs to be done. Firstly, we need to clean up all of this mess from the failed dipping attempt. So we're going to start with peeling off this tape. It was going to be a lovely little Van Halen style effect, but the tape's got to go, and we're going to have to clean up the body in preparation for everything that's going to come next. I've also decided that it needs a monkey grip on the upper horn here. So to get an accurate contour of my hand, I'm going to have to make an impression. I'm using yellow acrylic paint here to coat my hand nice and thickly, and then we're going to grasp onto the horn nice and firmly. This is going to leave a paint impression, and that will show how my hand grips the guitar. Using a Sharpie, I've outlined the main shapes of the grip, so that will allow me to work those shapes a little bit easier, see where they're defined to be. We're now going to take round files, half round files, and other tools as well to work these areas, so take the imprint and make it into a contour that will fit comfortably my hand. There's a good bit of work involved in this, and it's just a case of going back and forward, taking it a little bit and checking to see how comfortable it is, and that we've taken out enough area for the hand to grasp it. So eventually we're going to get to the shape of the hand. It's going to be a nice comfortable shape, and then we can sand it all back and prepare it for a new finish. Now that the snow has begun to fall, let's move back inside and take a look at the neck. The frets on this are exceptionally worn, and there are a lot of really deep indents, and while there is enough fret here that I could level these down and recrown them, I think it's a simpler process actually just to remove them and install new frets. So this is my fret removing soldering iron. It's essentially a flat tipped iron that I've carved the shape of a fret into, so it will ride along the fret, giving equal heat across the whole thing, and that will help soften any glue that's underneath the fret, but also heating up the wood under the fret allows the fret to come away from the wood without pulling up chunks of wood, which is a huge advantage because we don't want to be ripping up chunks of wood from the fretboard. To get the fret out once heated, we're going to use these fret clippers, and we're not cutting anything here, we are just using the fret nippers to get underneath the fret and walking it along exceptionally slowly pulling the fret up millimetre by millimetre, again being very careful not to pull up any wood. The big flat surface on the bottom of these clippers also helps keep the wood in place and not pull anything out. Once we've got to the end, it should just pop straight out. And as you can see, there's the fret removed. It's a little bit grubby, a little bit awful, but we're going to ditch it anyway. And a lovely fret slot without any tear out and wood rips. That's what we want to see. So we're going to do this process again one more time, using the iron to run along the fret to heat it up, and then walking along with the nippers just to bring it out very slowly, little bit at a time, and eventually we get to the end and it pulls right the way out and leaves a clean fret slot. So we're just going to do this multiple times, 24 times in fact. There are 24 frets on this neck. So we just go through the process until we've got the completely fretless neck. And this is a neck entirely devoid of frets. As you can see, they all came out very nicely. A little bit of gunk to clean up. The wood's a little bit uneven as well, but we can approach that very soon. Oh, and that's all the frets as they've been removed. As you can see, pretty nasty looking. I'm glad to have them out. The only issue I had with wood tear out was up on the scalloped end. You can see just on this fret here, a little bit of tear out. And no matter how experienced you are, how many times you've done this, wood grain is going to do this occasionally. But 1 fret out of 24, I think, is a good result. So that's that. Need to get that prepped for new frets, but that's for next time.